what are you doing to support yourself through this evolutionary stage that we're all going through right now? We are all experiencing this transition of timelines and perspectives and relationships and like the way that we see the world, it's changing so quickly. And I really wanted to just hop on to just say, you're not alone. I have numerous requests every single day of people asking me, what am I doing to move through this transition time into this whole new realm of living that we don't have a clue how to participate in. We don't have a clue as to what's next to prepare ourselves, is really what I'm trying to say. It's about releasing the control and surrendering to this life that is unfolding. And one of the biggest takeaways that I have had over the last 6 or 7 years as I've gone through a very intensive time of a spiritual awakening, and I'm not awakened by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just talking about the journey that I'm on is an awakening process of such profound awareness to this, of what I am participating in. And I have people asking me every single day, Kelly, like, what are you doing to evolve? Like, how are you going about doing this? And there's not a school for it. There's not any kind of A to Z lessons to take, and you have to start here and end here. Life is just this journey. It's a perpetual long line of things happening on the outside world that keep on awakening us to go inward, because what's happening on the outside world is really how we're reacting to it. Whatever is happening on the outside world is our participation from the inside. And this is something that I have become so aware of, and realizing that my inner state and my inner beingness of who I am and of what I want to become, aligning myself with my North Star, my inner GPS, my inner messages, my path of how I really need to be on. It speaks to me all the time. It speaks to me every single day, every moment of every hour of every day. I'm just constantly pulling myself into my inner world and allowing it to speak through me. Even Tuna Fish is speaking her inner world to go outside right now, right, Tuna? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this and say hi and get it out of your system. This is Tuna, and Tuna wants to say something. Are you going to talk now? Are you talking now? No? Oh, okay, we're afraid to talk now. She just wants to go outside. This is the last day of probably a warm weather for Ontario, Canada. That's where I'm at. Anyways, what I was saying was, our reactions to things and the way that we move through the things that talk to us from the outside world. There's constant messages, and there's constant frequencies and energies that are flowing through the ether, through this plasma, through the world that we don't see. And this is how we have to live, is learning how to open and expand ourselves into more of an intuitive way of living. And I've been so honing in on that for the last 6 years in particular, when I watched this video of me speaking back in 2019 and I went, wow, I really had my shit together back then. What happened? I mean, life happened, right? COVID happened in 2020. I got divorced in 2022. So many things came through me that hurt really, like probably the most difficult season of my life was 2020 until about 2023. And it was a lot of, and I didn't realize in 2019 when I did that video what I was going to be going through. And this video is so cool. And what I'll do is I'll put it in the comments below. This video was very enchanting to me because I could hear my soul speak to me now, present moment Kelly. And what I was doing back then from ayahuasca and ashram retreats and the podcasts that I was listening to and the books that I was reading and everything I was doing back then was preparing me for the world to come unglued in 2020 and go through that wild ride of seeing the corruption of the government on a level that I never thought was possible. And then watching too my marriage unravel in a way that I didn't think would ever have happened, because I always thought that he was my ride or die, like forever, and to watch that unravel and feel it so deeply in my heart was such a very hard time for me. But I now know that the things that I was doing in 2019, by having these beautiful videos, like things that you can remember, like it's journals, I love journaling, or, videos that I write or whatever, videos I speak in rather. I love them because they're almost like, they're like living diaries of where you were in that moment in time. And then to look at your progress of how you've grown and become something that, like, wow, man, like you made it through that. And then on top of it all, in 2025 was the ultimate, cancel time and very difficult time was when Erinn and I lost our Burlington location of Kelly's Bake Shop. But really, I don't want to talk about all those things, those little nuances right now. I will talk about them further on other videos, but it's just, I'm offering you guys this opportunity of resilience and to think about life in a whole other way. We have to become so resilient now. It's such an inner world, an inner sport. It's our inner growth. It's everything that's real is only what's happening in our inner world. And each of us are experiencing life in so many different ways. It's so vitally important to work on this strength, the resilience, the resourcefulness, the intuitiveness, the love that you have for yourself and your journey, and to release the guilt and the shame and the judging of who you are and where you are today. This is what's so important right now, is for us to let that go. There are people that come into my life on a daily basis, be it if it's family, friends, strangers in my DMs on Instagram or Facebook, and asking me to help them. Sometimes they're not even asking, they're just sharing what's going on in their life. And I see and feel a clear vision of the path that they really should be taking. And I say should be in quotes because should they? I might think that I know better, but for their soul journey and their soul's evolution, they need to go on the pain that maybe possibly could be the most painful path. And I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to guide them. I'm trying to share with them what I've gone through. Firsthand experience of experiencing that kind of energy, that kind of person, that kind of conflict. And I have to step back and allow them to to be whatever it is that they need to be and experience whatever it is that they need to experience. All I can do is showcase my life, like put it out there so openly on a platter and just say, hey, you know what? This is what worked for me. You know, I did ayahuasca 2018. It was a very humbling experience. What I found, I got more from that ayahuasca journey at the Rhythmia Center there in Costa Rica. Probably, you know, a few of you have gone there before, maybe yourself. I experienced it in a way that was traumatic. And it was about, you know, with 70 other people. And the ceremony was extraordinarily intensive for me. I felt very harsh energies coming at me through it. I don't know why, you know, I'm just explaining what I experienced through it. And I felt very isolated. I felt very alone. And I do believe that there probably weren't enough people to facilitate the experience, the ceremony. There wasn't a one-on-one thing. It was like maybe more like one person to every 10 to 12 people. So for me anyways, it was not a great experience. And my third ceremony resulted in me not being able to walk for 24 hours. Like I had jello legs. I was in bed. I literally could not walk. They had to remove me from the ceremony in a golf cart and take me off to my room. Anyways, it was a wild times. And what works for me or what doesn't work for me may in fact work for you or not work for you, right? So we have this individual journey. But the biggest thing that all of us have to face is the fear and mustering up the courage to take that step. And it's the path and it's the step that you know that you have to take. Because when you take that step on that path, that first step on that path and break the pattern of what you've created in your life, because you're so desperate to create something new. It's time to create something new. You're sick of the shit that you have been going on. The recycling energies, the recycling relationships, and you know that everybody the guys or the girls might have different faces, but what you're going to get from that relationship, if you haven't done the healing yourself, if you haven't mustered up the courage and faced the fear to go and face yourself, face the things that you know that you're just putting on a cycle, it's a repeat mode on that washing machine. And you are going to get bit in the butt again and again and again until we decide to choose differently and be brave enough to walk another path. And all it takes is that first step to break that pattern. And that to me is, I think, the biggest shift in consciousness for our soul's evolution is to choose that I want to be on a different frequency. I want to raise my vibration. I want to raise my frequencies. I want to raise what is attracted to me, because the more I keep myself in a higher elevation of consciousness and energy levels, I'm going to attract a whole different world to come to me. And that's what I mean by your inner world shapes your outer world. What you see and experience and receive out there is a direct reflection as to what you are experiencing on the inside, what you are speaking to on the inside, what you are visualizing, and your perception of the world through your eyes from the inside is what you're experiencing on the outside. So if you want something different, if you want to have a more connected, loving, deeper relationship, you have to be brave enough to take that step towards, how can I become a better person myself? You are never going to attract a good relationship as long as you are the same human. You are the same person with the same narratives and the same outlook. If you haven't done your shifting and you're growing and you're evolving and Be it if it's a podcast you're going to listen to, or you're going to be brave enough to go away for a weekend retreat, or even a one-day retreat. Just you're doing something that is breaking a pattern, and you are infusing yourself with the opportunity to become more whole and more joyful and more connected to your soul's purpose. This is what we're on right now. This is the path that we're all on right now. And it's all about holding ourselves fully and wholly accountable to what we are perpetuating in our life. If you're going to be a complacent person and just decide to stay on that same path with maybe that, the same person, the same way you treat your kids, the same patterns of, how you're treating your mother or your father, or how they're reacting to you, but how you're reacting back to them, like all the things that we're doing to create this perpetual pattern and keeping us safe from being accountable to our participation in what we are creating. The world needs us right now. The world needs us in such a big way, as a whole, for humanity, for our evolution, for us to survive and make it through this whole precipice. We're standing on this precipice of holy cow, what is happening next? It's revealing the truths of our existence, of the world that we live on, that the world that we live within. I am learning through all of this. I am no expert in it at all. But what I do know is that I am so fully open to all the ideas and all the ways that we are experiencing this life and what is happening in the outside world. Because I challenge it all the time, and I ask all the time if it's really true. Is it really happening that way? Or is it just my perception of how it is happening? I can only be accountable for myself, and I can only be accountable for my participation. And if I'm deciding to stay weak, and if I'm deciding to stay afraid, if I am deciding to not want to go deeper into my healing, into my exposing where I need to work on things, I will be like everybody else, if you want to call them the NPCs, the non-participating players, or whatever non-participating characters in this world that is playing out. We've gone so far down a path of not being accountable to what is happening out there and for what our experience is. And we can blame the government, we can blame politicians, we can blame Hollywood, we can blame our next door neighbor, we can blame our mother or our father or our boyfriend or our girlfriend or our husband or our wife or our kids or our dog or our cat, we can blame the weather. But if we're not accountable to ourselves and asking ourselves how we are participating, what is our contribution to this world that we have, that we're living in right now? And you will never, ever experience joy. You will never, ever connect with your ultimate soul's purpose. It's surrendering to saying, I am a work in progress. What can I do today to evolve and be the person that I really want to experience the world through? The world that I want to experience out there comes from within me. And it's the same with you guys. So the world that you want to experience out there, if you want it to be loving and joyful and full of like just surrendering to this incredible experience and allowing life to flow through you, like that's where we all need to be. I'm just going to share more as the days go on, and I just wanted to leave this little tidbit for you guys to chew on today.